The Redskins fired their head coach, Jay Gruden. Yes, the same Jay Gruden. He's related to John Gruden. He's the brother of the Raiders head coach. Jay Gruden's season started with the Redskins at 0-5, and then he just got killed by the Patriots, and they said, nah, you're done. On Monday morning, they called Jay Gruden into the facility at 5 in the morning, and they cut bait. They fired him. And I just feel so bad for Washington Redskins fans. I do. They've had 7 head coaches since 1999, 8 or 9 if you count the interim head coaches. But only one of those coaches finished their tenure in Washington with a winning record. That is Marty Schottenheimer went 8-8. In 2001, he got fired after 1 season. And why do I bring up the year 1999? They've had 7 coaches since then. None of them have finished with a winning record. Only one went 8-8. That's kind of a win. I guess you can count that as winning. 1999 is when Dan Snyder bought the Washington Redskins, or you could say ruined their franchise. Jay Gruden, the fired coach of the Redskins, has issues. He's not perfect, but I do think he's a good football coach. And to me, the problem with the Redskins is upper management, the owner. Yeah, it's really funny. I predicted the Washington Redskins to go 3-13 in my NFL prediction show, and I got so much hatred. Oh my gosh. Redskins fans were livid. I think the video has like almost the same amount of dislikes as likes. It's ridiculous. Read the comments on my it's like the Redskins to go 3-13 in 2019. Go watch that video and go listen, read the comments. It's funny. Even my friends, by the way, people I hang out with sent me messages and were like, what the heck, man? Why are you being so hard on the Washington Redskins? First of all, I was right. I was right about the Redskins, and I don't blame people who were mad at me. I feel sad for them. It's not their fault. The Redskins, as an organization, is a gigantic, gigantic mess. I feel bad for them. They're a mess of a roster. They have players who are highly paid, Josh Norman, for example, who aren't playing very well and not doing well. They can't get their left tackle to show up. Ton of guys are injured. It's not good. And there are reports that the Redskins don't do a good job taking care of and helping and paying and dealing with insurance of players who are injured. If you're not good to your injured players, that's a really bad look in the NFL. And I've heard from people who have played in the NFL who say that the Redskins are just not a good organization to play for. You just avoid them. They're cheap. They have kind of crappy facilities. In the NFL, the Redskins are one of the bottom of the barrel franchises to be an employee of, to be a player for. You don't want to be a part of what they got going on. It's an ugly, ugly mess, and the biggest problem is their owner, Dan Snyder. You know what he does? Apparently he picks players. Apparently he meddles in football business. And for an NFL franchise, having an owner who meddles in football decisions, telling people who to draft, telling people who to go for, sign this guy, draft this guy. It's the death penalty for an NFL franchise. When your owner meddles in football, the good owners get out of the way. They hire smart football people. They hire Bill Belichick. They hire, Jeffrey Lurie, the owner of the Eagles, hired good football people and then got out of the way. All his job is now is to enjoy whatever success the Philadelphia Eagles have. Dan Snyder can't do that. He can't take his hand out of the cookie jar. He's got to be involved. And it gets way worse, by the way. The Redskins drafted Dwayne Haskins in the first round of the NFL draft. He's a quarterback from Ohio State. I am very concerned for Dwayne Haskins, the state of his career, the potential success he may or may not have. Reports say that Jay Gruden, the head coach, didn't want him at the time of the draft. But Dan Snyder, the owner, said, no, I'm going to overrule you. I want Dwayne Haskins. He's from our area. He went to my son's high school. We're going to draft Dwayne Haskins. That's a bad situation for a player. That's a hard one for anybody to succeed in, whether you're the coach or the player. And there's a lot of angles here. Reports say that Dwayne Haskins could sense that Jay Gruden didn't want him. There are reports that came out saying that. And there's 2 angles you can have here. Either maybe straight up Jay Gruden didn't want Dwayne Haskins at all. He's like, nah, we just don't want him. Or maybe the alternative is that they drafted him and then were disappointed in him. And that's what Dwayne Haskins could sense. They're like, Dwayne is sitting there like, why am I third string quarterback? Why am I running the scout team? Why am I not getting reps? Why are you going to Case Keenum and Colt McCoy? Am I not wanted? Either Dwayne Haskins was really insecure and it could leak out of him, or simply Jay Gruden didn't want him. Either way, it's not good. And then let me tell you, when I watched the tape, when I watched film of Dwayne Haskins, I did a whole video about it. The dude is not ready for the NFL. He's making reads very slowly. He's struggling to read defenses, cowering away from getting hit. And then even worse, like I predicted, the Redskins played him way before he was ready. By the way, Dwayne Haskins, to me, I look at some of his Instagram posts and I go, these are weird. I don't understand. You're a little bit immature. Like, something's going on with Dwayne Haskins, the way he talks about himself and his career. He's often alone on the sidelines. He's not engaged with the other quarterbacks, paying attention and trying to learn about the game. I get weird vibes from Haskins. I wonder if he's NFL ready, not just from a sense on the field, but is he adult enough? Is he professional enough to handle that moment? I don't know. And I am concerned about that. But man, Jay Gruden put Dwayne Haskins in against the Giants. And I think Jay Gruden did it to make people stop badgering him about it. He's like, shut up. Whether it's fans or ownership, but people keep giving me a hard time about why am I not playing Dwayne Haskins? Well, here you go. I'll show you. This is why Dwayne Haskins isn't playing. And Dwayne Haskins went out, threw 3 interceptions, and was, admittedly, he had a couple okay completions, but for the most part, all over the place and a mess and clearly not ready for the moment. I said it before, I'll say it again. The death penalty for an NFL franchise is when your owner steps in and makes football decisions. Says, I want this guy, draft that guy, draft this guy. I know better than people I hired who know football. I'm sorry, Dan Snyder, you don't know more about football than Jay Gruden. Straight up. Like, I'm not even a big fan of Jay Gruden, but man, I get fired up and I hate it when you hear about owners undermining their coaches and picking players for them. That's not good at all. Here's the truth. An owner is just the guy who brings in the funding. He supports financially everything going on. And if he doesn't agree with the coaches, he can fire the coaches, but he shouldn't make decisions for the coaches. Does that make sense? I think it makes sense. Again, a good owner hires smart people and gets out of the way. Allows the smart football people to make decisions. I don't know, man. I think the Redskins are screwed. I really do. They've had head coaches in the past, since 1999. They've had head coaches that won Super Bowls, that won in college. They've had all kinds of coaches, and none of them have worked. It's not the coach. It's not Jay Gruden. He's not the reason the Redskins are 0-5. The reason the Redskins are 0-5. I'm not saying Jay Gruden doesn't play a part, by the way. Jay Gruden made mistakes. But the ownership, that's the real problem with the Redskins franchise. If your franchise, since in the last 20 years, only has one coach who finished his career with a winning record, it's probably not the coach. Because a lot of coaches have tried and a lot of coaches have failed. So you got to look at the system and go, oh, it's probably me. If everybody that works with me is terrible, is it me or is it them? Because after a while you go, oh, yeah, it's probably my fault that the people that work with me suck. If I've been doing it for 20 years and I've worked with 7, 8, 9 different guys and they've all failed, Dan Snyder, you're the problem with your franchise. And Redskins fans, I don't know how you support that. I wouldn't. I was once a Seattle Mariners fan, and I was like, wait. I don't agree with any decisions being made. I hate all of this. I don't like the players you're getting rid of. I don't like the players you're bringing in. They traded for Eric Bedard, got rid of Adam Jones. I was like, no. I can't. I was like 11 years old, and I was like, however old I was like, I cannot support this anymore. If I'm a Redskins fan, I'm teetering on that edge going, dude, I cannot support this anymore. I give you my money. I buy your merchandise. I go to games. I'm sick of supporting this. I get it if Redskins fans want to be diehard fans, but if I'm a Redskins fan, as long as Dan Snyder's there, I'm not supporting that franchise. Dan Snyder's the problem with the Redskins, and it's hard and it is sad to watch. My name is Zach Schaumler. This is my podcast, Strong Opinion Sports. It's my favorite thing in the entire world. And I want to be very clear and open with the audience. My YouTube channel is monetized. What that means is that some of my videos make ad revenue. It's fewer than you think. A lot of them get claimed. But in the past, I've received donations from people on Patreon and PayPal. PayPal.me/Zach Schaumler. Patreon.com/Zach Schaumler. And because I'm making ad revenue, it felt kind of weird just receiving donations. I wanted to give something back for the donations. And so people who support me on Patreon can give me $1 a month, And that allows them access to a pool where they can ask questions. If you send me questions through Patreon's DM service, you comment on one of my posts on Patreon. If you give $1 a month, you can submit questions. And with my eyeballs, I look at every single question submitted. Then at the end of my podcast, I pick the best top couple questions and read them on the show and answer them in a segment I call Ask Zach. Now that's for people who have money and want to support me that way. If you have no money to give, no problem. I totally understand. I grew up in a mobile home. I've been a broke college kid. I totally get it. But if you want to help in some capacity at the end, you can support the show by telling your friends about it. Share it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is. Help me grow by telling your friends about this show. It would mean a lot to me. If you believe in my dream and you believe in this show, tell your friends about Strong Opinion Sports. Guys, my name is Zach Schaumler. Thank you so very much, and hope you have a great day.